Hey everybody, this is Toot The Barber and welcome to the Sports Shop.
We are back, another edition of the Sports Shop at Forte Hair Salon on Broad and Stenton, alongside Geoff Mosher, Toot The Barber, Brandon Best. I can't even say iHeart Radio special guest Brandon Best because he's now part of the family. So all chilling here today. It's more of a chilled out, laid back, intimate version of the Sports Shop as we'll get into where the Philadelphia Eagles are right now and Carson Wentz just dominating. You might be thinking to yourself, like, what's going on here? Are we in the twilight zone that I am in the barbershop seat, but my man Toot's going to give me a little shape up here with the beard so I don't look like, some mongrel walking the street. But
let's talk about the beard, though. What's behind this thing? There's some significance to it.
There's some significance to it. So my goal is today is the last day that anybody's going to touch it, including myself, put clippers to it or anything, until the Eagles either lose in the postseason or win the Super Bowl. So February 4th, today is November 6th, the day that we're shooting. February 4th, that's 3 months. Now, what do you think this sucker's going to look like? I'll be looking like Logan.
You're going to be looking like Fletch with that outfit.
So is it all right then to have, this is the only part I'm really concerned about.
Now, you said you're not touching it.
Well, I know, but now as I'm thinking it through.
You gotta see it.
All right, I won't touch it. Today's the last day. This is how confident I am, is that this will be shaved the night at 11:30, midnight.
February 9th?
Going into February, I think it's the 5th, February 4th,
Yeah.
right? So going into that day, because I'm this confident right now where the Eagles are at, that I'm not even listening to one day at a time. I'm not even listening to, we're taking this one, I'm listening to just Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Wow.
That's all I can hear.
So you book your ticket, book your flight.
Not yet.
Are you building a parade float, too, while you're at it?
Those things don't travel well. All I know is that, how can you not? Let's start with this quarterback. How can you not?
Listen, I agree, man. I'm almost at the point where I want to book my ticket, book my flight, get my wife, my kids ready, and let's go. The only thing that scares me, and it's not an NFL team, the only thing that scares me is the bye week.
Really?
I just feel like when you have that momentum and you're running and you're rocking and you're rolling, the only thing that can slow you down is when you have to stop. And the bye week really scares me because I don't know. Andy was great at it coming out of the bye, but I just don't know. I don't know what to expect. And then we're going up against, let's face it, Dallas is a tough team. And they're coming for our heads.
I say, but with the bye, I feel like they got kind of a mini exposure to it. If you look at, everybody was worried about the layoff after that Thursday night game against Carolina, right? This is earlier in the season.
Short week.
Every game still kind of has that, well, who are the Eagles really, right?
Yep.
Then they had about 10 days because they didn't play again until the Monday night against Washington. And they put a whooping on Washington pretty good there. They seem to pass every test. I think that's the big thing with this team, right? Every time there's a game, it's like whether it's a long layoff or a division game or a team with a tough defense like the Broncos, right? And they just pass the test one after another to the point where I think I'm not nervous about anything other than two things. A playoff game in the Superdome against New Orleans because that's a really difficult place to win.
Yep.
And I've seen good teams, better Eagles teams, lose to worse Saints teams in the Superdome. Other than that, I guess we'll really see what this Dallas team is all about coming up.
To your point, the bye, I like it at this point because everybody gets the rest, everybody gets
so much needed.
fresh, and I don't think they will lose their hunger. I think they want to play every week, so it's going to make them more hungrier when they're off and practicing. It'll make them practice better. Then we're going to get some of them players that's injured filled up. They got a week to rest. They don't have banging in people. So I think the bye at this point is good. Now, we would have had last year.
Early, yeah.
No,
it's at the right time.
Because it makes the season longer too. So this kind of shortened season. They can play it like 2 seasons.
If there's one team you want to have the bye before playing, right? It's the Cowboys.
Yeah, sure.
That's a really good advantage for them. As you mentioned, you can't get hurt during the you
Just walking down the steps.
This point, right? I mean, in practice, right?
Hicks broke his hand on
So it happened in Houston too.
That's right. Houston's got that
Right,
problem right
with
now.
Deshaun. But you know, the thing about it, what gives me hope about the bye and moving forward is how much fun they're having out there, right? I mean, you can point to specific plays, you can point to press conferences, you can point to just the energy on the sidelines, and the difference is, like, think of the difference. On one sideline every week, you see positive energy, you see guys bumping into each other, you see them holding back the laughs and the smiles when they're up by 10, 12, 20, whatever it may be. And then it seems like every week, like the Eagles lead the league in handing out those death stares.
Right.
To where it's Von Miller or somebody else just
How about Malcolm?
just staring because it's like, we took your soul.
And that's the thing about this team is that the more they win, the more gumption, right, that they seem to kind of start to develop. Because
Yeah.
I forget what receiver it was, but Malcolm stared him down after a pass breakup, and you could see that receiver was like, damn, I can't believe I'm getting looked at.
Like, it's
the
real.
Eagles are now starting to act like a dominant team instead of like, are we dominant?
Right.
You know?
They're self-aware that they're bullies.
Very, very self-assured.
Nelson Aguilar yesterday against Chris Harris.
Yes.
When he yacked at him.
That's right.
He yacked at him.
Yep.
Listen, that's my most improved Eagles player, and I apologize, Nelson, because I didn't like you last year, so you expect
He
my
wasn't a
apology.
fan.
Everybody, man, it's
Yes, a
crazy.
lot of us.
You know?
I think we were all in that boat.
How about just that concept, the most improved Eagles player? And normally, on a good year, you might choose between one or two guys, right? Well, let me just say, Nelson Aguilar,
That's
Jason
one.
Kelsey,
That's two.
Michael Kendricks.
3.
If you want to even go to
Jalen
Patrick
Mills.
Robinson for what he showed, you know, Jalen Mills, Patrick Robinson,
How about this?
Halabaluti Vaitai,
There's a lot going on.
Take it to
Wentz.
a different level. That's even a bad term, not a different level, but Zach Ertz, in the sense of what we've seen year in and year out, which has been good, to now, which has been elite.
Nah, you know, that was, and you know this more than anyone, right? We fought this battle with a lot of people. If you go back to last year, he missed 2 games from the rip, right?
Right.
He came back and he wasn't 100%. So the 2 games after that were good. But from week 10 to week 16 of last year, only one player in the NFL had more catches
Right.
than him, and that was Jordy Nelson. Wow. Right? So he's just really doing what he's been doing. He's just been healthy.
Well, for an
We
extended
all
period of
obviously say
time,
that
right.
After missing that Broncos
But
game.
that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like Ertz is not literally, of course, but it's like Ertz's productivity is on steroids from what we've seen. And maybe that is simply just having the opportunity, and a built-up rapport. But that's the crazy part of it, to your point, Jeff, which is, you can look at somebody like Aguilar, you can look at somebody like Ertz, and you can start naming Vaitai and other people and say, Michael Kendricks, to me, of all the names you mentioned, it's Michael Kendricks. This dude every week is making an impact.
Came from the depths of despair, man.
Especially because, you're really, that's the one position that you're concerned about.
Right.
And there's no knock on Joe Walker, but man, every time that ball goes up and Joe Walker's
all
in
over.
coverage, my heart skips a beat.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kendricks is out there doing everything.
Everywhere, man. He's everywhere.
And listen, for what Kendricks got, I think because he was a second-round pick and because he's a little bit of a lightning round player, we give him that attention. But I don't know that J.C. Kelsey hasn't come as far back. Now, Kelsey started, so it's different, right? But Kelsey had some bad games last year.
It's true.
And he was only starting because there was no.
It's a rough
you don't
season.
you don't just put a backup center in. Jim could figure out a way last year to get around Kendricks. They couldn't get around.
Right.
Kelsey. They had to play him. He really came back.
It's crazy to see the levels of growth. You could even make an argument for Doug Peterson if you wanted to remove just players from this convo and see the improvement that he's made. Howie Roseman from years past to where he's at right now. This team it's insane how everybody keeps growing in their respective jobs. Like everybody's getting more comfortable at it.
If I could ask you guys a question, so what would be, if we had to choose something, what's the weakness of this team? I had this conversation with a coworker of mine.
Yeah.
What is the Eagles' weakness? We got a lot of strengths, but what's that one thing that you would be concerned about if you had to be concerned about?
Linebacker depth. We need another linebacker.
I see.
Like an every down linebacker. Because a team is scheme for you when you start seeing people like running and out of the game, just like with the running backs. We have a slew of running backs, but a team is scheme for them what they used to. Now they can't. Now they can't scheme.
And I'm certain that when you say that, it becomes a catastrophic weakness. It just happens to be a very strong team, and that's the weakest part of it. Because if you look at it, they'll play so much nickel and dime to take linebackers off the field. Like they're playing so much dime right now that they're basically have one linebacker batting out there, and they're getting by.
Yeah.
So their weakness is only weak in comparison to the fact that they're strong in a lot of other places.
But think about this, right? Once Ronald Darby comes back, you've got Darby, now you got Sidney Jones who's coming along as well, and Jalen Mills. Patrick Robinson until Sidney Jones is healthy. So ideally, you've got 3 cornerbacks with Mills in his, I think, perfect spot, which is the slot. So you can run a nickel base. And you can run 2 linebackers now where you're not relying on that third line. And one of those linebackers got to be Michael Kendricks. So
let me tell you how tremendous they've been compared to what other teams do. Against the Broncos, they played 20 players on defense. Now, 2 of them were because of garbage time, right? They got Camus, Graduate Hill in there, and they got someone else in there that don't normally play a lot.
Right.
But actually, it was 3. I counted it. 17 players played at least 20% of the game. 17 players.
It's a lot.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
For a team that was considered not deep on defense, they're getting, and not just are they playing, here's something that you're seeing that you don't always see, is that at left cornerback, right, they're taking Rasul Douglas and Jalen Watkins and just basically deciding, well, let's give some reps to this guy. It's not just package specific, right?
Yeah.
They're just rotating. You saw Najee Good come in instead of Joe Walker just to get him some reps. How many teams can play guys just to get them reps in the middle of a game and not have a drop off?
Right. I think,
That's special.
You know what I think it is though? I think it's the front, the front four,
Covers up a lot.
the front four cover it up, cover the linebackers. Like they be controlling the whole game. Even if they don't get to the quarterback, they scare him so much. He make a mistake because he think they're going to get there.
Can we kill the narrative now that you don't pay a defensive tackle $100 million?
Oh yeah,
You can't
please,
win with that?
please.
Get
No.
rid of it.
Flesh
Fletcher
is fine.
Attached to Brock
He's
Osweiler.
fine.
You couldn't get him off Brock Osweiler.
Amazing, isn't it how
And
that
by the
works?
way, he was going up against Ron Leary, who didn't allow a sack last year for the Cowboys and was one of the better linemen in the league. He killed him.
Absolutely,
Killed him.
absolutely, yeah.
Fletcher Cox and Jernigan and Bo Allen, they control that whole situation.
I mean, think about that. You got a whole separate unit that comes in, right? Where you can rotate guys in if it's Long, if it's Barnett, whatever it makes. Vinny Curry, you know, guys get rotated in. Bo Allen, to where it's not just a fresh body for a snap, or it's not a fresh body to get a breather in for your starter. It's somebody. It's a sub who can come in, who can step in.
Actual ball player. He can
Right.
play.
And now, I mean, that's dangerous when you get into January.
Think about, you asked about the weakness, right? And defense, we thought, would have the weaknesses going into their linebacker.
Absolutely.
But look at a game like the Broncos game. Now, how many different guys made a play? Chris Long had a sack. Derek Barnett had 2 rushes. Vinny Curry had a tackle for a loss. Jalen Watkins had a tackle for a loss right near the goal line, that -2, right? Trying to think, in the secondary, Patrick Robinson had an interception. Corey Graham almost had an interception that got broke up by 2 of his teammates, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Rasul Douglas almost had an interception, wound up being a pass breakup. Rodney McLeod did have an interception. What did I just name? 11 guys?
Right.
Yeah.
11 different guys who each had a significant play. That's
Corey
incredible.
Graham, he's playing well too.
Yeah,
He's
street
out
free
there.
agent signing in the middle of the
And
game.
he's an older guy. I didn't know he was an 11-year vet. I think that, like Luke, like he's seen it before. You know what I mean? Now he probably in his second part of his career and he know what to expect. That's why he be around the ball. You notice he be around the ball a lot.
Yes.
He be around the ball a lot.
All right, let me ask you all a question here as we still look at the NFL, but with the Eagles in the backdrop. How much are you still watching, not Sunday, because that's the easy one, but Monday and Thursday if the Eagles aren't in? Because this year, I feel like, and for a bunch of different reasons, the amount of flags and the watered down product that people have issue with, the fact that there is something going on in the NFL outside of games, whatever side you stand on, that clearly people should be able to protest their beliefs, or if you're on the more, constrictive side, which is ridiculous, but to each their own, and for the purposes of this conversation, to other things that you see, oversaturation of the product, ratings, people are leaving, whatever it may be. And I feel like this year, more than years past, we've been more in tune with people saying, "Oh, I'm going to leave the game. Like I'm going to leave the game." And it's easy to have this conversation when the Eagles are 1-8, but I think it's more difficult to have it when they're 8-1, and you see, "Whoa, I'd never stop watching this team." But there are people around the country right now that are thinking, for whatever reason, like, I'm almost at that point. I'm almost at that point.
Where do you go if you leave football? Like people,
NBA?
People left baseball. People left baseball. You know, no doubt about it, because of the NBA and because of NFL, right? Where are you going? Are you going back to baseball? I don't think so. And I love baseball. I watch baseball, but I don't. I'm assuming the population doesn't just go right back to baseball if they leave the NFL. Where do they go?
Well, I think
Because you said the NBA, but the NBA doesn't play on the same days as the NFL.
no, it doesn't play on the same days as the NFL. But here's what the NBA does: is it rewards you as a fan. It rewards you.
Oh, yeah.
And think of the
agree.
difference. I'll give you a little small thing. The NFL, I think, tries to do this, but it's still very difficult, the nature of the game. The NBA has figured something out. They've changed bad basketball with rules from 88 to 78 games to now bad teams are putting up 120.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you rather see? The Nets and the Bucks go at it where you know the Nets can at least put up 100 even though they're going to give up 140?
It would be like,
Or this defensive, like,
The NFL
Conor McGregor holds you in a boxing ring?
the NFL cannot make the Browns fun.
No,
like
no.
They made whatever, like the Timberwolves were what, 30 games under 500 last year, but they were fun.
That's crazy, right? I mean, you can watch two bad teams in the NBA, and more often than not, they're both going to reach 100 points because of the nature of it. So it rewards you in that sense. And here's the thing, too. It's crazy, but follow me. Madden and video games, and I say it because I love them and I play them, but the game hasn't changed as much as video games have changed. Whereas if I play 2K or live, it's going to be the same as what I see.
Yeah.
I'll put up a $120
yeah.
like my team and the Sixers will put up a $120.
Yeah.
But if I'm playing Madden, I ain't punting.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Eagles-
You going for it.
Eagles put up 80.
4th and 26. You going
So
for it.
I think that there's a little bit of that.
Every bad NBA team still has some real good superstar talent to watch. The Pelicans have Boogie and Anthony Davis,
Yeah.
right? Last year, Timberwolves have brought up. The Lakers stink, but they've got Ball now and they have Ingram. There's just not enough quarterbacks in the NFL right now. There's really a lot of mediocre quarterbacks throwing for 4,000 yards that people don't really care to watch, right? Like Ryan Fitzpatrick 2 years ago for the Jets threw for almost.
Yeah.
So,
But who's watching that? Right?
who's
Like,
watching?
who's
It's
tuning in?
horrible.
That's what I'm saying.
my
Who's
point.
tuning in for
How
that?
many good quarterbacks are you watching in the
Yeah.
NFL right now? You're watching Brady. You're watching, when he's healthy, Rodgers. You're obviously watching Carson Wentz. You're watching Breeze after the Roethlisberger. But there's 32 teams. And
Well-
once you get past those 6 or 7 quarterbacks,
What's the difference, though, in the NBA? You got 32 teams. How many, look at it from a point guard standpoint, right? You got your usual suspects right at the top,
yeah.
right? We'll throw James in there as a point guard because Chris Paul's hurt for now. But are there 20 good, legit point guards? Probably not.
Well, there's not to be a
Nah, yeah, it doesn't have to be a point guard.
But okay, like ball dominant, like the star, because you wouldn't count a point guard on Cleveland, but then LeBron takes over as Brady, or LeBron's the equivalent of Brady or Rodgers, is my point.
If it ain't a dominant point guard, you had somebody dominant that
Right.
can handle the
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. In the NBA,
As a
bad
point
teams
guard.
have really fun, dominant players to watch.
Like
even if they're not
perimeter
point guards.
players. They
Bad
have
NFL
fun
teams don't always have good.
How far
quarterbacks.
away are we from the NBA being an equal level from the NFL? Here's another thing, too.
I think we-
Brandon, you don't get scandal. You don't have to deal with Ezekiel Elliott in the NBA. You got Zebo getting hit with Bud in the offseason. That was the biggest scandal in the NBA.
But I don't think the NBA ever going to surpass the NFL. You know why? Because the NFL season is shorter. You don't have a lot of time to watch it, so everybody want to cram that in.
Right,
Opposed to the
but this
NFL.
conversation is built on the premise that the NFL is going to lose viewership as this
I don't
thing
think
continues.
so.
As they- but they have,
that's a
though.
totally
I
different
mean, I
argument,
think
'cause
they're-
I don't know
I
that
don't
it is
think
either.
so. I don't think so
it'll come
because
back.
think about it. On Sundays during the football season, people don't want to come outside, and if they coming outside, they want to go watch the game at a bar or going to the game.
Well, hey, global warming now. It's
I
65
know, that's
degrees
right.
in December.
But they not
You
coming
know?
outside just for leisure. Like,
But you don't think,
they
though?
gonna go watch.
I mean, you know what I think, to be honest, and I think growing up as a kid, being a sports fan, being a football fan, NFL, NBA, the product is oversaturated. Like Thursday night football, to me, has to go. I love football, but it's nothing, like for my kids, it was once upon a time where you would build up, you're waiting for Sunday to get here so you can see an Eagles game. And then you got Monday night football if you're playing Monday night football. And then, all right, I got to wait till next Sunday. So now the build up is there. But now, I mean, you got 2 days off and You know,
But
you're
why
watching
would
a
you-
horrible Thursday night football.
If you were the
game.
NFL, though, why would even if you felt that your Thursday night ratings were not good compared to Monday night, Sunday night, and 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, your alternative is 0, right? So you're weighing the idea that Thursday night football is so bad that it's making viewers not want to watch on Sunday or Monday versus we had nothing, now at least we have something.
Yeah.
I think it makes people want to watch it more on Sunday to see a good game. I think
The build up.
I
agree with that. The build up.
Yeah, you want, man, that was so bad. I can't wait till Sunday so more people watch.
The greatest trick the
The
NFL
greatest
pulls.
trick
Put a
ever.
bad
Yeah.
product in
And
on
listen,
Thursday
also-
to make it better.
That's
and
right.
why-
And it's consistently bad.
The reason why the product is bad is because I talked to a couple players. They say they be so tired from the Sunday game to turn right around and get ready for a Thursday
It's a
game.
physical game.
You're gonna be in it
It's-
mentally or physically. Like it takes everything out of you to get ready for that game, knowing that damn. They say you be thinking about the game Thursday and the Sunday game. Like I gotta get ready
Right.
and do this again.
Right.
So that's why the product is bad. But the
Water
greatest trick
down.
ever was to put that on there.
Makes the Sunday look a lot
Make the
better.
Sunday game
Consistently
better.
bad.
Everybody
That's
like, man, this
crazy.
game was bad. I can't wait till Sunday. Such and such.
A mediocre Sunday game looks better than a
Than a
bad
bad
Thursday
Thursday
game. Well,
game.
that looks like
There you
way
go.
better than
Right.
a mediocre Thursday
Right,
game. Yeah.
right. And they put bad teams on Thursday. It seemed like majority of the teams that come on Thursday be bad.
Yeah.
And the team you think is gonna win always lose. Look
Yeah.
at Buffalo.
Bet the home team
Look at
on
Buffalo.
Thursday.
I did.
Prime example. Everybody
I bet
thought
the
Buffalo
Jets.
was going
Right.
there.
Exactly.
Everybody thought Buffalo was
He's
going
right.
there.
Take the
and
home
run
team.
Take the team. Then you take the
Yeah.
losing team in there. But they more ready.
I know it's a crazy conversation to have here in Philadelphia with the squad already at 8-1, but we'll keep an eye on the viewer habits as well. Another low-key, laid-back edition at the Sports Shop. We'll be back next week. Jeff, Brandon, Toot, Eytan. Peace.